Hello and welcome to the North Bank podcast. I'm your host Holly and I'm joined by Stef and Chris. Hello guys.
Good evening.
Good evening. Hello.
How are we feeling 24 hours after we wiped the floor with Bayern Munich? I'm getting used to saying phrases like that, aren't I?
Feels good.
I'm still a bit giddy, I must be honest. A bit like the Tottenham game, perhaps a little less content than I was hoovering up on Sunday, but still plenty to go around.
Oh yeah, I've wasted a lot of today just going through various reruns of the game and comments, and I'm sure we'll come on to it, but some of the post-match comments from both our players and theirs.
I wonder what you could be referring to. This podcast, this show is going to be predominantly looking ahead to Chelsea on Sunday, where we will be looking for our third statement win of the week. With any luck, but we have to. I know we chucked out a quick, what do we call it? Instant, what is it?
Instant reaction.
Instant reaction yesterday. But 24 hours later, I don't think I fully appreciated, talking immediately after the game, just how good and impressive that second half was. Yeah. Bayern Munich are a force and playing at the very top of their game. We beat PSG in the group stage or the league stage last season, but we beat them at a time when they weren't what they became in the second half of the season, whereas Bayern Munich are already what they are going to be in the second half of the season. For sure, they had a couple of players out, but my God, did we have a couple of players out also. And yeah, Steph, I think you mentioned it just before we start recording, the Rice comments. The difference between first half and second half.
Yeah, Chris actually shared it in our WhatsApp group earlier, so I didn't know if you wanted to share it, Chris.
No, you go for it.
So basically, Rice was interviewed after the game and asked about, the tactical battle between the two teams. And in that first game, I said to you in the instant reaction that the first half was really like two teams sussing each other out, and Bayern had a lot of possession, and it's not something that happens often with us. We can dominate games quite a lot in the Premier League in particular. But I like the fact that we varied up the play. And then when it came to sussing that out in the second half, this is what Rice said. He said, the way they work, it's so good. It's top tier. When they drop you deep, it's so hard to pick up references across the pitch. It's so hard to get up to a man because they're just rotating constantly. It's about staying zonal and waiting for the opportunity to pounce. I think in the second half, we did that much better. We got our references right. We really went man to man with them. It was an all-round great performance because it is Bayern Munich. They've been unbelievable this year. And that sat with me all day. You sent that this morning, and that sat with me all day because the rhetoric around Rice is that he's this English lionheart and that he's all blood and thunder and he's like the Terry Butcher, he's bandaged up and he's bloodied and he's just going to find a battle. And while he has a little bit of that as well, I think we sometimes forget, well, I certainly do, because I'm a football fan. I'm ignorant to the intricacies of the game to other people, that he is a very clever footballer. Very intelligent without the ball, with the ball. And just the way the players see the game nowadays is so different to how we may have understood it. And certainly the way I was coached when I was younger, it was just a speed game. You focus on your area, win your battles and blah, blah, blah. Well, he's talking about references and rotation. We picked up on the 17-year-old that they had, Linnet Carl, who he was popping up everywhere. He was demanding the ball, and Arsenal facing him were obviously like, okay, well, we can't, if I follow him into that area, I'm going to leave all sorts of space. So we just need to hold back for a little while and then go into it. But the fact that we then sussed it out and realised we could match them, it's like trying to gauge the strength of your opponent's punch to see if you can kind of take it and know what to avoid and what you can take. And it just showed the class of this team and how thoughtful they are, that we were then able to draw quality from the bench and see the game off. Brilliant.
As you're talking there, I'm minded of an interview Rice gave in his first week when he said he cannot believe how much he's learned already from Arteta. And we didn't know whether to put it down to a little bit of maybe giddiness on his part, a bit of hyperbole, a bit of flattery. I don't know. But I was going to ask you, do you think that sussing out of the first half of Bayern Munich throughout that first half, do you think it came from the players, or do you think it came from the coaching team, or do you think it came from Arteta and was relayed at half-time?
Well, I'll jump in here and just say I think it's a bit of both, and I think that, as you said, Steph, the players are intelligent enough to work stuff out, and it just needs that sort of crystallising probably during a half-time team talk where everyone will contribute, but obviously Arteta and the coaching staff are overviewing, more objectively. And I think there's a lot of that buy-in generally, not just from Rice, obviously, but from the rest of them, that they are so cohesive, they're so on message that they can realise the notes given to them at half-time and execute it so well. It was such an efficient second half, so impressive.
Something else I've just been minded of, and that's how many times I know I've definitely commented, and I'm sure others have as well, that after 15, 20, 22 minutes of any game, of every game of football that we're involved in, there seems to be like if there's a stoppage in play, a lot of the players kind of gravitate over towards the touchline, and there's a little conflab with Arteta and the coach and the players. And that must be all part of we've got a leadership team. We have got our captain, our club captain's obviously Ødegaard, and it's been handed around like Saka, Gabriel, Rice, maybe one or two others, I can't remember. I think Mourinho had it at one point, didn't he, in one of the games this season. But we have clearly got a collection of very intelligent players, all management material. I mean, you talked about Trossard, Steph, the interview he gave when he was on the bench, and he observed how he could find a space when he came on with 20%, and he did, and he scored a goal. Like it seems to be a culture. Maybe it's part of the process, the tick box exercise when deciding whether to go for a player or not. Look at someone like Yuri and Timber. I mean, again, like we don't talk about him.
You said about Rice's comments in, learning so much so quickly. Jurriën Timber said exactly that this week. He was given pre-match media duties and said that when he arrived at Arsenal, steep learning curve, lots to take on. And he said, and I came from Ajax, where the technicalities of football, that is our brand. Yeah. And here I am with Arteta, and it's gone to another level.
And I think,
and go on, sorry, Chris.
Just very quickly, just to build on that, I think this is something, the evolution of the game is that we've gone through these sort of iterations of big physical techers, small technical players, and the way to improve all of that is to have the in-game intelligence, the ability to make, to use initiative and to do things and see things like scanning. There was a little clip of Rice I saw earlier today where it was just like a kind of, when they focus a camera on him for a minute or so, and he hasn't got the ball for half the time, but the amount of times he's scanning around to see what is around him and how close the opponents are, how close his teammates are, constant scanning. And it's that kind of intelligence, that the ability to anticipate whether you're going to receive the ball or to try and anticipate the ball or whatever. So I think that is a natural kind of evolution of the game, is just intelligence generally.
Oh, Steph, I thought you were going to jump in.
No.
We've actually got a hybrid physical and techers team at the moment, because we are quite impressive physical specimens, but like the skill levels are ridiculous as well. And we're reaping the rewards of this 5-year project, this process. It's indoctrinated. It's second nature to them. What was it? Xhaka said it took him 6 months to get used to playing that more advanced role. And we've heard enough players say similar sentiment, that clearly there's an awful lot going on the training ground, in the, I don't know what you call them, the studios where they have the screens up and they're analysing.
The Sober Realty Centre, as it's, I think, now known.
Is that a non-alcohol place?
It's a sober reality, yeah.
Indeed.
Well, if you listen to, just to bring it back to the comments, Joshua Kimmich came out, and I'm sure having just been beaten comprehensively was a little bit salty in his comments, and he came out with that sort of reductive line of they're just a set-piece team and we played a better game with PSG because they're more of a footballing team. And if he wants to be that reductive and kind of bring it down to that kind of lazy narrative that people are peddling, great, bring it on. And we were talking, weren't we, Steph, about if people want to view us with that kind of simplicity and ignore the fact that we are capable of a lot more, bring it on.
So I'll just do the quick maths. I'll look at yesterday's score and I'll take away the set piece goal, and it would still be 2-1 to the Arsenal. So,
but Kimmich must have watched the BBC analysis of the game, which just boiled my piss completely.
Yes, I woke up to that late message that you sent last night.
Sorry,
incredibly angry at the highlights.
It was quite late. I couldn't believe it. Like, their first port of call was to focus on Manuel Neuer's mistakes. It hadn't even mentioned the quality of Arsenal's second half. I don't think at any point they did mention the quality of Arsenal's second half. Then it was about set pieces. It's like, oh, for God's sake. And that Guillaume Balaguer. Well, are we keeping this under 18?
Yes, please.
Right, okay. I'll mutter incoherently into the microphone.
Okay.
On that one. Anything got to say about the game yesterday? I mean, I've got something to say about Bayern Munich, but not quite that game. Anything? Oh, Harry Kane, that was his first.
Did he play?
No, yeah, exactly. No shots. No shots in a 90-minute game for the first time against Arsenal, I think. That was the stat doing the rounds. Did you guys see Max Dowman's goal for the under-19s?
Did I? Just more than once, in fact.
Nutmeg, spin, chip.
Lovely.
But do you know what's even more ridiculous about that? Did you see the person, the Arsenal player next to him celebrating that goal was 13-year-old Luis Munoz.
Yes.
The youngest ever appearance in a UEFA Youth Cup under-19. 13.
Imagine what the Techers is like in the creche at the club.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And another, just a shout out to Emerson Wanyeri, who's only 15 and also came off the bench in that game as well. And I think the reason these guys played is because I don't think Arsenal are going to progress in the tournament. And I think it was the last shout, and they wanted to give a couple of the youngsters. I say a couple of the younger youngsters. I don't know, a couple of the babies. I don't know, toddlers. I don't know. A run out.
I reckon it's Arsene Wenger's got a lab, like a shed in the back of his house in Totteridge, right, where it's like a laboratory where he's creating these players and then farming them off to Hale End. Yes, little bit of physicality, yes.
He's Frankenstein and Pat Rice is his Igor. Like,
running around,
scuttling.
Yes, right, yes, I'll do that, yes. There's a sketch in that.
Martinelli has 11 goals in Europe for Arsenal. That draws him level with...
I know this, I saw it earlier. It's God. It's
Dennis Bergkamp, Robert Pires and John Radford. Now, I granted all of Martinelli's goals aren't in the Champions League, I'm sure. But, I mean, that John Radford must have... That's a pretty impressive haul for John Radford, because the number of games would have been far, far less in the 70s.
Yeah, he was, well, I mean, late 60s, because there was obviously that Fairs Cup win, wasn't there? 70. And then, qualified for the European Cup because of the title win. But beyond that, would have been slim pickings, yeah.
So fair play, Martinelli. That's, that's good. That's fantastic company to be keeping. Dennis Bergkamp and Pires. And he's going to score again, isn't he? Like, unless something goes drastically wrong with his season, he's going to get another goal in Europe for us this season. You have to think, especially if Trossard... I don't know, anyone hear anything about Trossard's injury?
No, I did have a little look before we came on, but it's all just speculation until Arteta's press conference tomorrow. And even then, it's going to be scans, and we won't know till late on.
And the other thing
I
as
owe
well
you
is-
an apology, don't I? I owe everyone an apology for that because
Oh yeah, it's your bloody fault. That's right.
I jinxed it. I said he never got injured, and there
You didn't touch enough wood, Chris.
No, clearly no. There were misses.
Anybody who didn't listen to the podcast two podcasts ago won't really understand that reference to wood.
It's just gone.
Yeah, don't say anything about any other player's durability.
No, I'm not going to. No.
Right, unless they're called Haaland. Then,
Yeah.
then it's fine.
He'll last all
always
season.
available.
He's fine. Yeah.
He's a robot. He's a machine. Apparently, Arsenal played a behind closed doors game against Watford today to give minutes to a couple of players. You've got to think that's Jesus, Gyökeres, Ødegaard, maybe even Havertz, because Havertz, although had a little bit of a setback, that December was still mooted. It is December on Monday, so we're almost there. I haven't heard, again, before we start recording, we're recording this on Thursday evening quite late. I did do a quick Google to see if there was anything, I could find anything anywhere about this behind, and I just heard it was flagged up as happening. I haven't heard anything about it since, but again, something might come out tomorrow, and the Prezzers tomorrow will let us know who's available and who isn't. But interestingly, as our bench is getting stronger, our subs are scoring goals. You know, we had Martinelli and Calafiori and Madueke come off the bench, and between them they scored the second and third goals yesterday. So, you know, it's... Well, until we find out who the next player is to go get crocked and what have you. Anything else to say about Champions League and Bayern Munich?
No, all good.
Okay, well, Chelsea on Sunday. I've got a stat. I love this stat, and I've had this stat for the last 3 podcasts, but I haven't had the opportunity to share it. It was an interview done on the BBC with Tony Pulis. I don't know if you guys read it. Did you read it?
No. I'm all right, thanks.
Well, it was actually quite interesting in this sense. He was talking about the value of the clean sheet.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And this is mad. This is so... I find this fascinating. What's the value of a clean sheet as opposed to the value of scoring goals in terms of points accumulation, right?
At least one?
83%, no, 83% of clean sheets give you a win, right? 83% of clean sheets give you a win.
Oh, that's the stat.
That's the stat. That's the first stat, right? 83% of clean. That's quite high, right? That's quite high, right? A clean sheet typically yields over a season an average of 2.66 points per game.
Okay.
That's the equivalent to scoring 3 goals. 3 goals, if you score an average of 3 goals in a game, you will get, on average, 2.72 points per game. So it's almost the same. So a clean sheet has the same value as scoring 3 goals in a game in terms of points. He was using that as justification. He says, I don't understand why more teams are more negative. He said, that's how we survived for the first 3 years in the Premiership when we came up with Stoke. We knew that stat, and so we thought, no, we have to just keep as many clean sheets as we can because that's what's going to keep us in this division. So I just thought that was like 83% of clean sheets give you a win, but the average points per game over a season with a clean sheet is 2.69, whereas if you score 3 goals in every game, you'll still only come out with an average of 2.72. So it's like almost on a par with the clean sheet. So I thought that was, for me anyway, that was an interesting... Sorry
No,
if
it
that...
is.
It
is. I'd never thought about it. And when you say it, I think, well, how many 0-0 draws do you see? Not many, really. So when it's when you keep a clean sheet, you're more than likely going to win. And
yeah.
So
it fits in with the mindset, and there is a slight cliche, isn't there, about, you know, goals win your games, defences win your titles, and all those sorts of things. And for all the teams that you would label as great entertainers, whether it was Keegan's Newcastle or the odd Liverpool sort of iteration, even Wenger's very sort of tippy-tappy kind of teams, you know, could score lovely goals but had soft centres and could leak goals. And those teams, whether it's Keegan's entertainers or Wenger's latter sort of teams, they didn't win the title. So that rings true.
Yeah, that's why I think that Man United title win in 1999 where they conceded 37 goals must be a bit of an anomaly to that. Because that's an awful lot of goals to concede. Mind you, we were their only real opposition or challengers at that time. So you could, I remember that in those seasons, you could comfortably lose 6 games and win the title. That was the thing. You didn't need, you looked at, right, we can't lose more than 6 games in a season. And
I'm sure there's a season as well where United, because when it was the big four, as it were, they didn't win any of the games against the big four. There were draws in there, but they just beat everyone else as well. So you have these certain things you target.
There's a slight counter to the losses thing in the stats is that, as I always say, draws are the real killers, and I think you can probably lose maybe 5 or 6 games. Depends to who. If you're losing them to your rivals, then that's a 6-pointer. If you're able to make up those points against your rivals, do you know what I mean? You can balance it out more. And Liverpool have lost 6 already. I'm not saying they're going to storm up the lead, but they haven't drawn any. So that's what's keeping them in the middle of the table, having lost 6 games.
But they're out of the title. They're not.
Yeah.
They're out of the title race.
Yeah, but I haven't got the table in front of me, but I bet there are teams in the lower 5 that have lost 6 games, possibly even less because of the draws.
Would you take a draw on Sunday? Hold off, don't answer that yet.
Okay.
So Chelsea are on a really good run of form. Very similar to us in a sense, but I just wanted to look at the opposition they'd played. Yes, they beat Barcelona, but there are certain caveats with that. Barcelona were crap. That's the first caveat. They were down to 10 men quite early. They offered very, very little, even with 11 men, and less with 10 men. But still, that was a dominant performance by Chelsea. I'm not diminishing it, but there is context within that. So if I made a note of Chelsea's previous 5 or 6 games. So they won at Burnley 2-0 last time out. They beat Wolves at home in their most recent home Premier League game. They beat Spurs at Spurs 1-0. Well, exactly. You're shrugging, Stef, and this is exactly why I wanted to do this, because there is, although they're on a great run and they are second, look at the opposition they've beat. So Burnley, Wolves, Spurs. They lost at home to Sunderland 2-1. They beat Nottingham Forest, not a Sean Dyche Nottingham Forest. They beat them 3-0.
That was the Big Ange sacking game.
It was.
He was sacked before he could even do his media duties.
They beat Liverpool at home 2-1. That's not really a good result, or a surprising result, rather.
Yeah. Meh.
The aberration this season is us losing away to Liverpool.
We met them too soon.
Yeah.
So in home games this season, home for them, they've lost at home to Sunderland, they've lost at home to Brighton 3-1, and they've drawn at home with Palace 0-0. Right, so there's plenty there to encourage, shall we say, in terms of their record. They are on 23 points. They've scored 23, conceded 11. They've got a plus 12 goal difference. They're 6 points behind us. And they're 7th in their Champions League in the Champions League table. They're 7th. They drew away at Qarabag before beating Barcelona. Look, I'm not saying this is that the only players I think they're missing definitely are Levi Colwill is the only player that's definitely out. Doubtful is Palmer and Lavia. The rest I think are all available, but they don't really play with a striker.
Neto's been playing as a false 9. Yeah.
So again, a lot of fluidity perhaps. I mean, it's their midfield that kind of frightens me. Caicedo and what's his name?
Enzo.
Enzo Fernandez. That's a strong midfield.
Yeah.
But we've got Zubimendi and Rice.
Mm-hmm.
That too is a strong midfield.
And you look at if you consider them to have a third midfielder the way we would, either Eze or Odegaard, the class is there.
So how are we feeling about Sunday? You're going, Steph, aren't you?
I am going, yes. I will be in the shed end upper. A bit of a nervous wreck. Don't like going to Chelsea particularly. It's been a few years now since I've actually been. I'm looking forward to the day out, obviously, and we go there absolutely cock a hoop after beating Bayern and Spurs this week, but then so are Chelsea. And I like the way you've spun those recent results, because you're right, they are games that they probably should be winning. And what it reminds me of is when we met them last season, because actually they were up there for quite a while. Their first half of the season was quite good, and then it all just kind of got a little bit stodgy, and they were just sort of doing enough to make the top four as they pushed on for the Conference League as well. So we're meeting them in very similar circumstances where we're vying for those top positions, and so are they. So this will be a litmus test for them. I like to think that it's a shame Gabby's not there. Gabby he likes a game against Chelsea, but you know, we've coped incredibly well without him.
Yeah. How are you feeling, Chris?
Yeah, I'm interested to see whether they bring a more attacking game based on this kind of confidence that they've got. They're on a good run form-wise, and whether that plays into our strengths.
Would that bother you?
No, because I want them to come on and create more space for us. I don't want us to be playing a kind of, horseshoe of death with them camped in their own half. I'd rather it was a more expansive game, because I think we're more likely to pick them off.
From the bits I've seen of Chelsea this year, which isn't much, granted, against Barca, they almost called Barca's bluff, because Barca plays such a high line that Chelsea almost... They played a fast front three with Estavio and Neto and another player who eludes me now, and then Enzo running in from midfield as well. They really called it out, and Barca just had no answer to it. That said, there are a couple of moments in the first half where Barca broke their line because Chelsea were trying to squeeze up the play as well, and Sanchez came running out, took out a striker. But at the same time, I've seen other games where Chelsea have been a little bit more pragmatic. They're rotating Estavio in and out because I think he's only 18 himself.
18, yeah.
Yeah, so they've been...
His goal was very, very good.
Oh, he was
Barcelona,
excellent. Yeah, absolutely. Really stood out in the game. So, yeah, I think Maresca's got a bit more about him than to just, play one particular way, but it will depend on the personnel they've got to draw from. Delap came off the bench, for example, so they could go a bit more traditional.
Chelsea fans, from what I've ascertained online... Their issue with Maresca is not how he sets the team up to begin with, but his in-game management.
Right.
That from winning positions, he's handed initiative to. Same even their most recent game at Burnley. I was just kind of following the live text on BBC, and sometimes they post contributions from fans via text, and pretty much 3 or 4 consecutive Chelsea fans were saying, "Why has he done this?" I can't remember what the change was.
Right.
He just. So expect Burnley equaliser guaranteed now, because he's just, why has he done this again? He's handed the initiative from a comfortable winning position. He's made a change, but actually they did then secure a late second goal themselves, but maybe that's just their quality rising to the surface. I don't know. Right, what about our team? And we're recording this the day before the press meet, or get to chat to Arteta, where he'll reveal a whole load of scans and training sessions still to come before he makes a decision, and nobody will be any the wiser until about 75 minutes before kick-off on Sunday. We see what the team is. But I suspect we'll have Ødegaard getting minutes. I can't imagine he'll start. I suspect Gyökeres to be on the bench. Obviously, Madueke and Martinelli have proved their fitness and readiness, provided they've had no reaction to the Bayern game. Madueke would have played for a lot longer than he would have been scheduled to because of the Trossard injury. So how are we thinking, Steph? How do you think we're going to line up?
In defence, I've got Raya, Timber, Saliba, Nketiah and Calafiori. I think he's going to go with that combination of Calafiori and Nketiah at the back.
Don't you think Mosquera played seamlessly?
I thought he was excellent. I thought he was absolutely excellent. And what was really good was there were times, you said earlier about, or we talked earlier about Bayern's fluidity made it hard for Arsenal to think about who they're picking up, and they had to stay zonal, which restricts them. Arsenal have got a bit of that about them as well, where some of the front line has been rotating. We commented earlier in the season about Madueke and Saka training on different wings. We're seeing a little bit of that in midfield. You know, sometimes Zubimendi presses high and sometimes Rice does. And even Saliba and Mosquera, you know, were dropping in. If someone needed to go over to the left, the other one would drop to the right and vice versa. So that was interesting to see. But, you know, Nkapia did so well against Spurs, and his play naturally left-footed on that side. I think that will be there. Midfield, Eze, Zubimendi, Rice. Don't see the need to upset that. And like you say, Odegaard's still coming back. Front line, Saka, Marino. If Trossard is fit and, you know, ready to start, I don't think he's going to be at all. And therefore, the name I've got down, because he likes a goal against Chelsea, is Martinelli.
Me too.
Right.
Chris?
Yeah, exactly the same team. And I've just written Odegaard and Madueke to come on, to be on the bench, obviously. I'd be surprised, well, delighted if Gyökeres made the bench. I don't know if he's going to be that
why
ready.
Why organise a behind closed doors game today? I can't imagine that's just for like Gabby Jesus. I can't imagine that is.
No, I hope you're right. I hope.
So I know Odegaard needs minutes, and to be fair, Martinelli would probably have played a little bit in that also.
Don't know.
So you've got the same team. Sorry, go on.
Here's a question then. Madueke is obviously returning to Chelsea, and he had a mixed reception on leaving Chelsea in the similar way that he had a mixed reception arriving at Arsenal from a minority, it should be said.
Online.
And now he's been, online, especially online. He's been absolutely welcomed by those of us.
And
in the
he's
stadium.
acknowledged that more than once as well.
Yes, absolutely. You know, we're fully behind him, and I was so pleased for him to score his goal against Bayern.
That was apt. I think
cracking goal.
And I think it's a crucial goal as well, because it's taken any monkey on his back is gone. Because he's been playing so well, but no end products, and I'm using inverted commas for no end products, and he's got a goal.
But play him against Chelsea? Start him, I mean. He'll come on if he's on the bench, but I did toy with him sort of starting. He looked incredibly good. He picked up where he'd left off, it seemed.
He's probably more ready than Martinelli to start, because he's a game ahead of him, if you like, and he played longer again. He's ready to do 90 minutes, but if he starts, I don't know, who would you rather come on against tired legs?
Well, Martinelli's proved himself pretty capable of doing that as well. So actually, if it's either or, I don't mind.
No, if I'm answering my own question, I start with Madueke and I have Martinelli come off the bench.
Do you not lean into Martinelli as a more defensive option, you know, in terms of dropping back and helping out?
Do we need to worry about that? Because
when does Estevao come off the right?
Yeah, he's been playing on the right, so Calafiori's side.
Yeah, and Martinelli's side. But look, it's a nice problem to have. You know, this is where we're hopefully. But we
don't associate Trossard with defensive. I mean, even though he does, I'm sure, as will Madueke and as will Martinelli. They'll all, you cannot play in this Arsenal team without putting in a shift defensively. You just can't do it.
It's the pace. You really notice it with Martinelli, don't you? The way he's herring around.
And if Chelsea lean into that tactic that worked against Barcelona, I don't think for 1 minute we'll be as naive as Barcelona sort of defended with the high line. But, you know, they certainly can get at us with pace. Estavio, Neto.
In one word, how are you feeling about the game, Chris? One word.
Confident. If you allowed me to, I'd say more confident.
Than what?
Well, because after Bayern, it sort of cemented my thing. After the Spurs game, I was thinking, it's great that we got this superb result. But it was with back of my mind was thinking, but it was only Spurs. But after Bayern... I was going to say with all due respect, but I don't really need to. No, but after Bayern, I just thought, well, come on, we're in really good shape now for Chelsea. I think there was something else I was thinking. You know how Bayern in their league, they don't have as many competitive games. Like I think they're playing St. Pauli on the weekend. It was the first time I'd heard of them. And we're playing...
Know who St. Pauli are? They have skull and crossbones as their logo.
But what I'm saying is as a level,
Yeah.
That we're playing. God, how many London derbies do we play, for God's sake, in our league? We play competitive football at a very high level. So
you say competitive. I mean, Spurs weren't that competitive, were they?
With Spurs notwithstanding. But you hit the ground running more, so you are at that sort of peak physical level to play that kind of high intensity game, which is sometimes we moan about it because we say we go into games like the Bayern game and we are maybe a bit tired because of that. And Bayern are coming in and have only played the likes of St. Pauli, and therefore they're fresher. So there's a kind of two sides to that argument.
I had a question. What was the question? Oh, right, Steph, you haven't given me your word yet. How are you feeling about... Oh, no, that's it. You said something there, Chris, that prompted a memory. Me and Steph yesterday, we were talking about the momentum shift again, because I'd said after the Spurs game, like, cock a hoop, giddy, brilliant, this is great, this is fantastic. Then I was thinking, play the kids against Bayern Munich, Chelsea's the important game, and then Chelsea play on Tuesday and they wipe the floor with Barcelona, and you're like, oh no, they're very good. Oh, it's not good. And then all of a sudden Arteta plays a comparatively strong team against Bayern Munich. We dominate them in the second half, cruise to a 3-1, very, very deserved 3-1, could have been more, victory against Bayern. And all of a sudden we're back up again. The momentum's back up again. And it's like, keeps swinging like that. It's that, the soft factors, you call them, Chris, the psychology of, like, and how will Chelsea feel about having watched, that's the last thing, playing second. I was thinking, oh damn it, Chelsea have an extra day's rest, but now I'm thinking, no, we've now put in such a dominant performance against Bayern Munich, the best team in Europe. Everybody's saying on current form, the best team in Europe, and we've put them to bed. And now that's going to play about in Chelsea's minds. It can't, like, you can't stop how you think. You can then, once that you have the thought, you can then, deal with it as you're coached or whatever. But I'm just curious about that. I think
you're right. Just as we were watching Chelsea dismantle a poor Barca, thinking, oh, their tails are up.
Yes.
Likewise, they'll be, I think, even more so because of what you just said, because Bayern are so much better.
Yeah. Right, Steph, one word. How are you feeling about Sunday? So we've got confident from Chris.
Better is what I'm going to say. No, look, you've explained exactly how I was feeling. The analogy I've got in my head, this week, I'm a nervous flyer. I really don't like flying. So I've been through these moments. The Tottenham game was, and the post Tottenham game was very much me before the holiday, really excited. Yeah, can't wait to go away. It's going to be brilliant. Yeah, we're going to have a great time. And then watching Chelsea do very well against Barca, that was me on the plane, gripping the seat, going, oh no, we're going to die. We're going to die.
Why am I doing this?
And then us playing Bayern was literally the wheels touching the ground and me going, thank God. What was I worried about? Honestly, safest form of transport. Safest form of transport. Oh,
so
honestly.
What's the Chelsea game then in this continued analogy?
It's me
getting
in
to
the
baggage
bar.
reclaim. No, you get to baggage reclaim and your bag is first on the carousel.
Fingers crossed. I mean, we don't know. It's the unknown of the holidays.
Steph, I'm a little bit concerned though. Does that make Brentford the return flight or something?
God, I don't know. Let's not worry about
Aston
that.
Villa, isn't it?
No, Brentford at home.
Brentford next. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's fine. If I'm going to add a little voice of slight negativity in there, one thing I am conscious of are the games in which we've dropped points in the Premier League this season. Teams in the top four. Sunderland, City, Liverpool, and now Chelsea, who are second. It will be a competitive game. It will be close. There'll be chances for both. We haven't kept a clean sheet in 3 since Gabby got injured now. So, yeah, there's it. Like any team, whoever you play when they're next to you in the table, there's an edge, there's a nervous energy about it, but it's a positive nervous energy. Because I said yesterday after the Bayern game, that felt like a statement. That was me cottoning on to just how good. Because in my head, I'm still the irrational fan. I was looking to Chelsea going, well, that's the more important game. Bayern will be whatever it will be. But the players aren't seeing it that way. Players are going into every game, how can we win this game? How can we crush our opponent? I'm looking forward to it, and so will they be. Yeah,
and they'll see it as a springboard into the Chelsea game too.
Yeah,
they do this whole thing of, we see games in isolation and you can't compartmentalise and then it's parked and it's gone. No, it doesn't work like that. Psychology doesn't work like that. If you've just won a massive game like that, you are taking that confidence into the next game.
Ask Liverpool about taking things into the next game. Well, it works negatively as well, doesn't
it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I hope I hadn't considered our record against the current top four. 2 of our next 3 games are currently in the top 4. Opponents are in the top 4. They might not be by the time we play Villa. I don't know. And the other thing to factor in is City play at home to Leeds on Saturday, so they will win that one. And so they will be 5 points behind us at kick-off, which is great because we'll have a game in hand. No, sorry, they'll be 4 points behind us. Yeah, they're 7 behind. They'll be 4 points behind us and we'll have a game in hand. So there's a possibility that we could be 3 points ahead. Worst case scenario at the end of the weekend's games. Best case scenario is we're 7 points clear, and City are the ones in second place. So that's the scenario I'm obviously hanging on. Have we done our scores yet?
No,
we
Chris.
haven't.
Well, I said 1-1 for the last few, and we won them, didn't I? And now because of my jinxing of Trossard. No, I'm going 2-0 to us.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not happy about that. All I can think is egg on face in like 3 days' time. That's all I'm thinking. Oh, God.
Chris.
So you just gave a reason for saying a draw and then went for the win?
Oh, the draw thing was purely superstitious,
No, but you jinxed Trossard. Now you're jinxing us.
We're all right with that. We're all right with superstition. Irrational football fans.
Yeah. Go on then, Steph.
Okay. 1-0 to the Arsenal.
This is insane.
I know.
Like, insane in my membrane.
I'm on a 7-game predicting a win streak. We haven't won 7 games in a row, but I have predicted that. I don't know what's come over me. Maybe I am starting to believe. Oh, no. Oh, no.
I've gone for 1-1.
Have you? Okay.
I think that just offers a bit of balance.
That's the first drop points you've predicted all season.
Is it? So
it really is.
I predicted 1-1 for the Bayern game, but I know that's not the
it's
Premier
not.
League.
I tell a lie. You predicted we would draw with Liverpool, and that was the 3rd game of the season.
Look, would I settle for a draw? I really want the win. I think of, in a week of statement wins, this would really hammer home to our rivals that they cannot drop another point anywhere. The pressure it would put on the likes of City. Why did Pep Guardiola make 10 changes before a Leeds game, home to Leeds?
But also before Leverkusen, who have only lost 1 game this season and are no mugs.
Right, so pressure.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
And that's my point. He knew that dropping points at Newcastle was not terminal.
Costly.
Really
costly, yeah. Because he figured that we would beat Spurs, as probably most neutral footballing people would have, just on the basis of the 2 teams that Arsenal are stronger. Removing emotion, the objective football fans' prediction would have been an Arsenal win in that game. So he knew he was going to be 7 points adrift. So he makes 10 changes for not an important, but like a relatively important game. That Man City are currently outside the top 8 in that league table. So they're currently scheduled for those 2 extra games. Now I don't know what remaining 3 games they've got. They're probably quite winnable, but you never know. It just amps up pressure on those games. And again, if he was away to Chelsea, I'd understand maybe making 4 or 5 changes, but still not wholesale 10 changes. Did anyone talk about being disrespectful to the tournament? I wonder, like when you make those 10 changes. But it just goes to show, if we were to beat Chelsea, guaranteed no matter what anyone else does, we are 7 points clear, just over a third of the way through the season. It just means that Man City cannot afford to drop many more points, and they go into every single game like that. So, you know, I'm saying 1-1, but that's more like kind of self-preservation a little bit, perhaps. But I'm desperate for the win.
Aren't we all?
I think you know, this win would be massive. Just because it would be the third, it'd be like that bang, bang, bang. A knockout, you know. What do you call it? Using your boxing as you
combination.
No, what's that? And there's
TKO.
What's that? TKO.
A knockout.
Total knockout.
No, it's like the referee just jumps in and
the referee stops it.
Stops it, yeah. But anyway, right. I've got one more story to share. Have you guys got anything else you want to chat about?
No.
So there was this. I don't know where I read the story, but I think it was someone retweeted it on X, and it was about you might have seen it. There's a Slovenian woman who has been a tour guide at Arsenal for 7 years, massive Arsenal fan, and she was unfortunately the victim of a bank fraud, and lost a fair bit of money. But Charlie George paid her entire month's salary out of his own pocket. Wow. So I just thought it was like really nice.
What guy?
Like, he is a legend, obviously, and just to think that there's just human decency. Yeah. And like, I don't know when that happened. I don't know what point, but I just thought it was a nice Arsenal-related story. Charlie George,
good old Charlie, who does tours around the ground, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's obviously how he knows her, because she that's what she does.
Fantastic.
Good on him.
So there you go. Karma. He'll get a 3 points at Chelsea as a result of that. Obviously, That's why I've mentioned it. Just to help it out into the ether so it'll come back. Right, well, we shall reconvene with our instant match reaction, Chris.
Yeah.
And with a little special edition, which we won't mention, but...
Thanks for saying it on here, so now I feel like I'm cornered into doing it.
Not my intention at all,
right.
Honestly.
Well, I'll have to pick my moment, because Chelsea fans, depending on how the game goes...
That's true.
I don't want to be speaking into a phone and talking about... we've smashed it, brilliant, because I might end up with black eye.
The way you started then, Steph, sounded like you were going to do like a streak across the pitch. You said, I'll have to choose my moment because those Chelsea fans...
Well, I'm in the upper tier, so if I do streak, the first leap will be a little bit interesting.
Over the stewards onto the pitch.
Oh, dear.
So that's when we're due back together. So listen, or look out for that. I'm sure. Well, I hope it will be a celebratory post-match conflab. Anyway, in the meantime, enjoy the next couple of days, doing whatever it is you're doing, and hopefully enjoy the game as well on Sunday.
We are top of the leagues. Thank you.
As someone said, we're not top, we're top.
We are top. I put that out.
Double top.
As you said, we're not top, we're top. All right, guys, thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.
See ya.
The North Bank, an Arsenal podcast. Subscribe, rate and review on your app, And find us on your socials at North Bank Pod. Email hello@thenorthbankafc.com and check out our website, thenorthbankafc.com. Produced by the Podcast Company.